Dan, why a near-term overhang versus something much, much longer lasting?
Yeah, the broader worry is, will this cascade to a much more exodus off of the platform as well as social media? And remember, that's a broader risk, not just for Facebook, but for tech stocks overall. I think right now it continues to be contained, but obviously the next few months are going to ultimately really be key to see what advertisers do on the platform. The bigger worry is for overall tech stocks. FANG names have been key parts of this rally. Facebook a key part of it. So that's why right now investors, you're seeing that risk-off trade in terms of a lot of this news that we're seeing.
Dan, there are real issues on this platform. Forgive the cynicism, but I just wonder whether some of these big advertisers need to pull back their ad spend anyway over the next year. Isn't that something inevitably they will have to do given the shape of this economy right now?
Look, there's more and more pressure on a lot of these larger brands, especially, what we're seeing in terms of the complexity and the backdrop and the climate right now. And, I think when you look at it, tech stocks have really, so far, been unscathed. And I would say the strong have gotten stronger across social media, digital advertising, as well as some of the other areas like streaming. So this is really the first test. It's a watershed moment, not just for Facebook, but I think for tech stocks to see how they navigate this and ultimately how the stocks react. Because I would say, these stocks do not rally overall without FANG names, and we continue to believe still tech stocks are up another 20-25% this year.
That's another big move higher, Dan. I think we've all been conditioned by the regulator talking a lot and not doing a lot. There is a view, though, that if these companies don't change, that if someone new comes into the White House in November, if we get a change in the composition of Congress, someone's going to do the changing for them. Is that the big risk over the next 5 months? Is that the big overhang of these names?
Oh, definitely. I'd say regulatory, I know obviously we've talked about it with you and the team a number of times. At first, right now, it's kind of been shrugged off as a background noise. You have a Biden presidency and a Democratic-controlled Senate. This starts to become a much bigger risk from a regulatory, especially with antitrust worries you're seeing on the DOJ and the state AG side, as well as within the Beltway, and especially in the EU. So I think it does start to become a more pronounced risk, and I think that's what you're seeing here reflected in some of these stocks, is this is the drum roll into that.
Dan, headline just crossed on a Bloomberg now, GM reviewing how its brands are marketed on Facebook. This is going to keep piling up. We've questioned the leadership of this company so many times over the last several years, both Mark Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg really not addressing the key issues at hand effectively enough. They have been criticized continually, and I think in the eyes of many people, justifiably so. What can they do in the next week to change people's minds without admitting what they've been trying not to admit to for the last several years, which is they are a media company and they've got to conduct business accordingly?
Yeah, it's a balancing act. And this is obviously a company that's been through many crises before, as we've seen with Cambridge Analytica and Delete Facebook. So I do believe this is going to be a critical time for them to convince not just advertisers, but investors that they can navigate this storm. And the worry is it turns into a brush fire. And I think that's where it starts to get reflected more in these stocks. So this is really going to be a key, I'd say, 1 to 3 months ahead. And remember, it's not just Facebook. It's a lot of their FANG peers, too, because I think overall the regulatory starts to increase that risk depending on how they handle this period.